To begin by reading a song, lyrics from a song. You can see this on your screen, so please follow along. Love and marriage, go together like a horse and carriage. This I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other. Love and marriage. It's an institute you can't disparage. Ask the local gentry and they will say, it's elementary. Try to separate them. It's an illusion. Try, and you will only come to this conclusion. Love and marriage, go together like a horse and carriage. Dad was told by mother, you can't have one without the other. What is the key? The answer, of course, is love. And I have to agree with old Blue Eyes or Frank Sinatra in his lyrics. Love and marriage. They go together like a horse and carriage. As many of us have undoubtedly experienced, loving someone is easy in the early stages of relationship or marriage. We get ourselves all fixed up when we decide to go on our date, so we make sure that we smell good. We spend late nights having deep conversations, and we seem to have these butterfly feelings that seem to just never go away. But now it's a different story. The butterflies have stopped. We ask ourselves, what did it mean when they just stopped just fluttering? Did it signify the end of our love we felt for each other? Did something or someone steal it away from us? Can there be butterflies again? I believe the key to having a successful marriage, one full of honesty, encouragement, and care and concern, is to have love. But to have love, we must choose to love. It's a choice we must make. Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said this, and you can see his quote on your screen. To love someone deeply, it gives you strength. Being loved by someone deeply gives you courage. And we have to have both of these when we're choosing to love, because choosing to love is a difficult road that we have to travel. And it has many obstacles within it and many emotional ruts, so that we have to, choose to avoid. When we're choosing love, it is hard to maintain a marriage because it requires work. And many people, just don't want to deal with work in the relationship. And one of the areas that struggles the most within marriages and with choosing to love is within communication. Communication is a two-way street, and it takes both partners participating for it to be worthwhile and productive. It takes being honest expressions of positive, or speaking positive to our spouse, having good emotions, but also expressing our rough emotions, like, our stress and our anger. But, we have to make sure that we don't, that we're choosing to communicate with our partners rather than just simply vent upon them. It's a part of listening and sharing. And these are so vital in having a successful marriage. We need to listen to each other and our points of views. This is what's going to make it so that we can meet each other's needs. When you're meeting each other's needs, you're not going to be as stressed, because when I know my husband is meeting my needs, I'm in heaven. I seem to have less stress, and when I'm putting more effort to meet his needs, he's less stressed, and in return we have a better marriage. Diane Soley, she said another great quote. The most important marriage skill is listening to your partner in a way that they can't possibly doubt that you love them. This candle represents, passion. And I have to choose to take this match out, strike it, and light this candle. I have to choose that in order to set an atmosphere of passion. If I wanted to have an evening with my husband, I would set up this old gourmet dinner, and I have lights, and I'd have to strike that match. Well, just like that, just because I wanted to create that atmosphere of passion. As in our marriages, if we want the flame of passion to burn, we have to choose to ignite it, in spite of our rough patches that we may experience. A great way to facilitate this is by remembering the good times. This is another great quote by Dave Muir. He is an author of the book called Days of Our Wives. Yes, it's a play on words of Days of Our Lives, but it's a pretty good book. And this is a quote that he wrote. A great marriage is not when the perfect couple come together. It is when an imperfect couple learns to enjoy their differences. In many respects, my husband and I are alike in many ways. We're both artists in some sense. He's an audio engineer, and I'm a graphic designer. And we can communicate in a lot of ways, but in the aspect of handling stress, we are polar opposites. I have a very hard time dealing with stress, and especially, for example, with a speech. I would get myself all worked up and basically about to fall down and cry, and my husband would get all, he'd be trying to be supportive, and it was great, but sometimes it just wasn't enough for what he was saying, and he would get all upset because he couldn't help me, and then we'd get in an argument, and then we'd get an argument about the argument. And I know that my husband loves me, but sometimes in that moment, it seems like he doesn't, And there's also another great quote I would like to share with you. It's by Leo Tolstoy, and many of you guys may know him. He's an author of War and Peace. And he made this quote, and you can see it on your screen as well. What counts in making a happy marriage is not so much how compatible you are, but how you deal with incompatibility. I have to choose to love my husband. I have to choose to communicate with him. And I have to choose to remember the good times in spite of the hard times and the difficult times. Raising 2 children while working and going to school is not easy. And I have to rely on my husband, and I have to choose to love him and to communicate with him. And, on your screen you will also see some examples of some images of my husband and I when we were dating, and in our engagement pictures and also our wedding photos. I have to choose to just pull these out and just look at them and remember the good times and say, you know what, I know my husband loves me, and I know that our love and the same passion that we had then is still in our relationship. We just have more obstacles to have to learn and to deal with. But that's okay, because we can do it by choosing to love each other, and by choosing to communicate with each other, and by choosing to remember these good times and bad times, despite the difficult times that we go through. In conclusion, by choosing to love and committing with our partners and remembering the good times, we will have the keys to have a successful marriage. It is an everyday choice that we have to make, but it's one worth making. Thank you.